The following segment is presented in partnership with Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org. I've had a lot of frustration around the pursuit law. What is your position on where that law should be at the end of the session?
So I am really supportive of Rep. Rule's proposal. I think that she did the right thing. I'm frustrated. I feel like we've made a tiny bit of progress. They've added DV in domestic violence into that pursuit, but things like stolen vehicles, without that, I don't think we've made a ton of progress. I mean, we know that the bad guys are stealing cars and using them to drive through businesses, commit other crimes. The reality is we can't continue at this pace of nearly 50,000 cars stolen a year in the state.
Yeah, and just to give folks a little bit of context for the Alicia Rule bill, which was one of the bipartisan bills that came through the House, and she's a Democrat. She had Republican support on that bill, and then there was a substitute bill that watered it down a bit. Mm-hmm. So basically, they're just, under the current consideration, there are, I think, 6 types of crimes that officers could pursue under if it passes. So I think it's any type of violent crime, domestic violence assault, escape from justice. Oh, now I'm going to blank on it. DUI. Vehicular assault is one, and then I'm missing one, but it doesn't include anything for stolen vehicles. There has been an assertion from some Democrats, Senator Manka Dhingra, we've been just driving the issue home with her because she's sort of like, show me the data that suggests that the current pursuit law is making crime worse. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I don't know how that data can exist, because then I would have to tie someone who drove off and know everything that they went on to do. And that's hard. I would argue it's almost impossible. So if you were chatting with someone like Senator Dhingra or other Democrats who support the fix from 2021 and don't want to change, how could you articulate to them how that has contributed to the crime crisis?
I mean, I think we do have some proof in that every jurisdiction has the 911 tape of the person calling back. We've had it happen in Kent. Tell your officers to stop pursuing me. They're not allowed to. That in and of itself, to me, feels like that should be the only thing we need to say.
It's wild.
It's crazy.
It's
wild. Just we know what we're seeing, right? Since July of 21, the number of stolen vehicles has gone up. The number of crimes being committed with stolen vehicles has gone up. So we're seeing, like I said, we're seeing people steal a car, they use it, they drive through. It just happened in Edmonds or Linwood this week. They use that stolen vehicle to drive through a business. They try and steal things. They get back in the car, and once they're back in the car, they're then safe, essentially. And the problem is, I've heard a lot of conversation about, well, you can find them later. Well, if you're in a stolen vehicle and I don't know who you are, I don't know how to find you later, right? It doesn't make any sense to me. And we know that all of these crimes are going up, and they're rising at a much faster rate in the state of Washington than they are anyplace else.
Yeah, and there was just that horrible case, I don't know if you heard about it, we talked about it earlier on the podcast, in Sunnyside. There was a guy going 110 miles an hour. They couldn't pursue him because that's not allowed under the law. He went and killed 2 kids in a car crash. I mean, that's horrifying.
It's replaying itself over and over in every jurisdiction. We had a stolen vehicle with one of our neighboring cities that they knew was stolen. We're sitting there waiting on it. The guys got back in the car. They couldn't pursue, ended up crashing that car, carjacking 2 more cars before they crashed. That's 2 carjackings that could have been prevented had they been able to stop that stolen vehicle in the beginning.
Yeah, I thought it was a no-brainer heading into the legislative session that they would fix this thing in a meaningful way. And now, as the weeks go by, I'm more and more depressed about it. I mean, something is better than nothing.
That's the position that we're taking. We're going to continue to, as it works through the process, I will continue to testify. Our chief will continue to testify, and we'll take whatever changes we can get, and we'll keep working on it.
Yeah, and the South King County mayors and chiefs have been very outspoken. Is there an element of feeling like you're just sort of always living in Seattle's shadow on these issues, like your voice just down there collectively does not matter as much?
I think that's why you've seen us come together as a South County to elevate that voice, because that's sort of been the way that South County is treated for decades. So making sure that folks understand. Mayor Backus said this in a meeting the other day, that we're sort of the canary in the coal mine, right? When things happen in South County, it's just a matter of time before you start seeing them in other places. So we were the first ones in 21 to be really vocal about a couple of the reforms. always preface that with, I 100% believe that there were reforms necessary in policing. Many of them we had embraced already. That is not saying that, but it's these kinds of very, very pursuits. Pursuits are a part of catching bad guys.
The previous segment was brought to you in partnership with Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org.